So you want to be a mage part 2. If you followed my advice and you did the tutorial and you started out on Syndrome, you'll talk to the captain of the guard, and basically he's going to give you a bunch of stuff to start out your journey as a mage. The first thing he's going to give you that you're going to want to learn right away, or want to use right away, which I've already used it, you can see down here, reading, is going to give you a book called The Magic Schools. Read that as soon as you can, because that's going to give you access to your spells. I'm going to go over the other things that he gave us. Basically, he gave us 50 silver to start out our journey, which you're going to need, the 50 silver. Because you'll be reading a lot. Your first couple of hours, couple of days as a mage is all going to be about reading and casting spells on yourself pretty much until you can actually venture out and do damage to other things. So that 50 silver is going to come in handy. Mage books get really expensive depending on how you want to build your mage. He's going to give us a portable campfire and a torch, which we can use to go out adventuring. And then he's going to give us a set of reagents. To cast spells as a mage, you're going to need reagents. You can purchase reagents from a reagent vendor. You can also get them from extracting ore and things like that. He gives you some very basic ones to start your basic spells. Calamine. I don't really use that. Calamine, cuprum, rock oil, water. And so you have these reagents that are going to allow you to cast your spells. To find your spells, once you read the book, you're going to get access to Vitalism and Ecumenical spells and reading, reading is very important. So it's going to open up your mental skills. It's going to open up Vitalism and magic schools. You can see Ecumenical spells right here. Alright, so now that we have some reagents, let's look at some of the spells. So you hit O and it's going to bring up your spell book. You can click on the spell and it'll take you straight to the spell. Or if you want to kind of flip through the pages, you just click on the top corners and it'll flip through the pages. Or if you're really into RP, you can alternatively click, left click, and drag the pages to flip through the book. Well, whatever makes you feel more mage-like is up to you. So right off the bat, you'll notice a few things. So it's going to tell you this is ecumenical, so it's the type of spell it is, the name of the spell, what it does, and the reagents required to be able to cast the spell. So you can see that we have the reagents for this. So let's put this up in our bar too. I'll show you all that later. But the thing about ecumenical spells is there are different tiers. Right off the bat, without having any points into it, you can cast 3 spells. You can cast Lesser Heal, you can cast Spurt, and you can cast Mind Blast. Are going to be the first ones that you can cast without having to have anything leveled up at all. The higher your ecumenical spell level, the more advanced spells you'll be able to cast without failing. So, and basically it's tiered. I'll put in the description the different tiers. Basically it's a 10-point system. At Ecumenical Spells 10, you'll learn Purify. At 20, you'll learn Corrupt. At 30, you'll learn Lightning and Greater Healing. At 40, you'll learn Fulmination and Reflection. At 50, you'll learn Thunderlash. At 60, you'll learn Flamestrike. And at 70, you'll learn Earthquake. Most people don't level their Ecumenical up that high. Once they get Thunderlash, they usually stop at Thunderlash, which is 60. Which if you're free to play, it's going to stop at 60, so that's you won't actually even have access to Flamestrike and Earthquake unless you have a sub to cast. So right off the bat, I would recommend taking lesser healing and putting that on your bar somewhere. Spurt, putting that on your bar somewhere, and that's pretty much it. Those two spells is going to be your big thing. So now that we've gone through the spell book, we've gone through a few reagents, I'm going to take it into Tantrum to show you guys a few things. Alright, so basically I just walked through, from the tutorial area through the gardens and everything. I walked into Tantrum. This is the first area. You're going to see all the vendors here. This guy is the reagent vendor, and he is going to sell reagents for you. He's not going to have everything, but he'll have mostly the things you'll need to cast most of the spells. He doesn't have sulfur or water. But he does have calamine. He also does not have cuprum either. Cuprum you have to extract or buy from an extract person or buy off the trading post. So I recommend, if you're going to have ults in this game, to make an extraction ult. But getting cuprum can be very difficult without dying. But I'll save that for a later video. So let's get down to casting spells. The place that I'm going to recommend that you start is going to be in Tantrum at the fountain. So I'm just going to run to the fountain real quick. Alright, here we are at the fountain. You can already see here, there's always tons of mages here casting Spurt on themselves. Because Spurt is going to be basically your main way. It's going to level up your psych, and it's basically going to level up your mental offense and things like that. So make sure you just gather a ton of water. So make sure you have the gathering hotkeyed on your skill bar. I have it set to my 1, so I'll just put it in here and gather some water. Now I'm going to show you guys how to successfully cast a spell. Something you'll want to know is by default, alt will target yourself. So if you ever need to heal yourself, you just hold down alt. So I'm going to show you guys Spurt. I have Spurt as hotkey to my number 5. So to cast Spurt on myself, I'm going to hold down alt. And the first thing you have to do when you want to cast a spell is you have to charge it. So basically, you're going to hit whatever hotkey it is, -5, so I'm going to hit the number 5. So yeah, and something important to note about being a mage is if you want to be a mage, you can't have a weapon equipped. You cannot cast magic and have a weapon. So we'll just throw that back in our bags. And alternatively, if, let's say, I wanted to cast, let's do Corrupt, since I know I don't have that. Say I wanted to cast Corrupt, I hit the number 2. You can see in the chat, it's telling me that I'm missing 1 Ichor. So if you're trying to cast a spell, it's actually going to tell you why you can't cast that spell. So if you're sitting here trying to spam a spell, just look at your chat and you can see why you can't cast that spell. Okay. It won't tell you why it fizzled, but I'll let you guys know why something will fizzle. So let's try that again now that we don't have a weapon equipped. So I am going to, it's basically what they call a precast or a charge cast. So you're going to hit it and you'll see animation, and once it goes away, you'll hear the little noise and everything. Once that goes away, you're ready to cast it. So I'm going to hit alt and then hit the hotkey again, and I'm going to cast Spurt on myself. And you can see it does crap for damage. It hits me for 1. And then basically you just want to keep doing this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Same thing with like the lesser heal. So I have my healing set to 3. So I'm going to hit the 3. I'm going to hold Alt to target myself and then hit the 3 again. And I lesser heal myself. So you can see that my Spurt's not doing much damage. And my heal is only healing for about 8. Don't worry, I have high intelligence, so if you're a Dex Mage, you're only going to heal for like 3 or 4. Don't panic, don't freak out. It's just, it depends on how many points you started out with and everything like that. So that's basically going to be it as far as like how to cast spells. Now if you're trying to cast something that you cannot cast yet, so remember I set the greater heal to the number 7. So I'm going to try to cast greater heal on myself. So basically I'm going to hit the number 7. It's going to precast. I'm going to hold Alt to target myself, and I'm going to hit the 7 again. See that big black whatever? That means that my spell has failed. Because my Ecumenical spells is not high enough to cast this spell. So it still uses the reagents. Like I casted the spell, but it failed because I'm not smart enough to cast the spell, pretty much. So you want to make sure that you get your Ecumenical spells maxed. And before you actually like start casting your Spurt and things like that, there are a few things that you're going to want to get the books for to start reading. I'll make a list of books that you'll need to read, and I'll try to put them in some sort of logical order for you to read them in, because you can see that even though I'm casting Spurt on myself, I'm not actually getting any skill points or anything like that because I don't have mental training unlocked. So basically I have to read mental training, and when I read the mental training book, it's going to open up these skills here, which is mental offense, which is going to make your spells actually like have damage. And then you'll read mental focus. You'll also learn mana regeneration and everything like that. Other than Ecumenical spells, there are 2 other spells in the game, which are Spiritism spells. You have Resurrection and Transcendental Awareness. Okay, yeah, that. Basically, if you want to resurrect somebody in the game, you have to learn Spiritism. It's a lot of skill points, and basically this is the only thing you'll be able to cast with your mana pool, because you have to learn both spells, and you have to have your Spiritism max. Basically you'll learn Transcendental Awareness, which will pretty much bring you into the ether world, because you can't resurrect someone unless you can see their soul. So if you want to resurrect someone, you have to cast the spell first, and then after you cast this spell, you'll be able to see their soul, because it's going to take you into that dead world, like when you die, and then you'll cast resurrect on them, and it'll bring them back to life. Now this is going to completely drain all of your mana, and you won't be able to do anything else in the game, or you won't be able to do anything else after you cast Resurrect, so you can rest and get all your mana and everything back up. So if you find that it's worth it, by all means put the points in it and everything like that. Like if you're most of the time though, you're probably going to die before you can resurrect somebody, or your band's going to be wiped out. So to each his own. If you want to learn it, by all means, go ahead. A lot of people will tell you that it's pretty much a waste. Unless your guild or some, unless your guild and everything's like, yeah, we really need you to have this. Mostly I don't recommend it unless somebody else like really wants you to have it, but that's all up to you. So yeah, that's your casting magic spells 101. Like I said, you're not going to get any skill ups or anything until you start reading some of the books. After you read some of the books, After you read the books that you need to read, basically you want to sit here and just cast Spurt on yourself over and over and over again to level up the spells. I read in a post that it takes 10,000 Spurt casts on yourself to max out some of your training, so that's a lot of Spurts. People recommend that you run a macro that automatically hits Spurt on yourself and then rests. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, that's also up to you. We recommend that you do it in the fountain because you'll have plenty of access to water and you just rest. So, but yeah, that's your basics into just being able to cast spells. Like I said, your first couple of days as a mage, you're going to be extremely weak. Your spells aren't going to be very effective. There's really not much you can do. So what I recommend that you do is read and then go farm like these flowers, these little purple, blue flowers. That way you get some money and you'll be able to buy all the books that you need. Personally, I did read all of the books. I found that I could read the books while I'm doing other things on other characters, or I just found that reading the books freed up a lot of my time to do other things, as opposed to just sitting there and casting Spurt over and over myself. So, however you want to level up your spells is all up to you. But if you guys have any questions or comments, or if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe for more. I will get a little bit more in depth with the mage, as far as like the books and specs and things like that. So keep tuned in for more, and I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.